Streaming services have revolutionized how we consume content, allowing us to watch our favorite shows whenever we want. But with the advancement of technology, including smartphones and internet connectivity, binge watching is becoming a form of addiction. How bad can it be, you may think, to watch a few hours of Netflix every week, especially if it helps you unwind after a stressful day? After all, binge watching, the habit of watching multiple episodes in one sitting, has been around since the 1970s. But research suggests that unlike regular TV, the constant evolution of streaming services encourages binge watching. So much so that it is becoming more and more popular. Back in 2013, Netflix reported that 60% of its users had binge-watched a show during the past month, and by 2019, the number increased to 80%. The availability of entertaining content, which is probably growing daily, has made it increasingly tempting to momentarily set aside our own lives and immerse ourselves into captivating stories, even for multiple hours at a time. While the passive consumption of content may seem like an innocent, bad habit, it can quickly turn into an addiction, much like social media and video games. Scientific literature defines addiction as a continued engagement of self-destructive behavior despite adverse consequences. Activities like binge watching stimulate dopamine production, creating a sense of pleasure and signaling the brain that it's a desired activity, even when it's a harmful one in the long run. Some of the negative effects associated with regular binge watching, which is defined as watching 2 to 6 episodes of a show in one sitting, include loss of self-control, neglect of work or social relationships, unhealthy habits such as overeating, lack of sleep, isolation and increased feelings of loneliness and depression. In addition to the psychological effects and how binge watching affects the mood, emotions, cognition, and social relationships of a person, spending multiple hours in front of a screen can also affect physical health. It can contribute to obesity and chronic conditions. But why would we engage in such destructive behavior? Psychologist Dolph Zillman explained excessive media consumption through his mood management theory as an attempt to manage moods. His theory suggests that we consume content to achieve a desired emotional state. In other words, binge watching is an attempt to escape or regulate negative emotions, including anxiety, stress, or boredom, and to replace it with feelings of relaxation, excitement, or joy. To balance consumption, Zillman's mood management theory suggests developing healthy media habits. Here are some of his suggestions. Number 1, being mindful of our emotions. Paying attention to how we feel can help us make better choices. Avoiding violent or suspenseful content, especially when we feel stressed or anxious, is essential for our emotional well-being. Number 2, setting limits on media use. Boundaries can help to prevent binge watching altogether. Number 3, engaging in other activities. Beyond watching TV and using media devices, we can spend our time in much more meaningful ways, like reading, exercising, or connecting with friends and family. And finally, it's essential to be aware of potential risks. There is extensive research emphasizing the negative consequences of binge watching, including addiction, social isolation, cognitive problems, and mental health issues. Understanding these risks is essential to promote healthier habits instead. Although binge watching has become a dominant form of entertainment and is part of evolving consumer habits, we should be aware of its repercussions and consider whether our time is truly well spent consuming endless stories that offer no meaningful value to our lives.